Hey folks, Dr. Mike here with Joey Szatmary of Sat Strength on YouTube, and we are here at the Lion's Den, Joey's private training facility for superheroes and villains. No judgment. Come train. Come one. Come all. Folks, here's the deal. Joey has been doing some hypertrophy training through RP for about 6 weeks now out of a 12-week plan, and he has been using the RP Diet app for his diet side. Initially, him and I got together and we're training with him, or sort of training partners, and he's like, hey, what do you think about diet? Do you want to write me something up? And I was like, no, but I designed this app that does that for me, so I don't have to anymore. And at first he sort of picked it up and he was like, shit, I have to type stuff in. And then I was like, dude, just start typing shit in and it'll recognize everything. And then he did it and he was like, it's shit out of diet. Like, here it goes. So we're going to ask him a couple of questions about his diet experience with the RP Diet app and see what he thinks. And if he hates it, just remember that this is not a very good review because Joey hates me personally and I hate him back. YouTube beef is 1000% real. Already, look at this. See where my hand is? It's a little too close. He doesn't like that because he doesn't like me. Joey, hi.
What's up?
Welcome. Nice shirt.
Thanks. You forced me to wear it.
I did.
Because if I didn't, we wouldn't make this video.
Yep.
And all the AdSense is going directly to his personal bank, not to RP at all, because he doesn't care about his company, he cares about himself.
Well,
so
that is unsubstantiated nonsense,
anyway,
folks. But on to the questions. You're about a month and a half into using the RP Diet app.
Yep.
What is your diet history? What has it been prior to this? And how serious have you made attempts at dieting before?
Well, the cool part about this is I actually used RP templates years ago, and kind of when you guys basically came out with this stuff. So a lot of my knowledge is derived from a lot of the concepts that they talk about through their content, their channel, etc. So I had a good idea of going into it. Now, I'd say the thing for me is sometimes I get just stuck at plateaus, and I need to make some changes and adjustments depending on my goals at the time. So that was what was nice. Linking up with Mike is I kind of gave him the situation that I was in, where it involves, do I go up in weight? Do I go down in weight? Physique goals, strength goals. So based off of his knowledge, he kind of gave me his overall take and guidance of where we should go from here, which for us specifically had led me into a cutting phase. So I was cutting for about 12 weeks. And then at some point we're going to put some mass on and get some size, which is going to help me get to where I want to be. But in terms of nutrition, I would try to stay pretty balanced. I'm not very right or left or extreme or anything like that. I try to just stick with the basics and then make adjustments accordingly. So I'm a fan of eating food and tracking religiously.
That's good.
And doing the best that I can to get to where I need to be.
That's a really good point you bring up. And I think a lot of people run into that is they know how to eat well, but they don't know where to start from the three main types of dieting, which is muscle gain and obviously weight gain, fat loss and weight loss at the same time, or maintenance and just sort of recomp / get stronger. And a lot of folks in that sort of like 15-ish% body fat range, just athletic, powerlifter, strongman, it's not very clear to a lot of people, like, which way do I go? There's some downsides there too. Like, if you start a fat loss phase, your powerlifting buddies make fun of you. You're not hitting PRs as regularly as you were before. And that sucks. Like, all of us that come from a strength sport background, like, man, what am I eating these bird portions for? And maybe not getting weaker, but like not gaining strength as fast as possible. Yeah. And on the other hand, like, if you start at 15-ish% body fat as a male or 22 as a female, and you start massing, like, shortly you don't look as cool, and then you're like, and then you just end up in this like gray zone of maintenance where people are like, were you cutting or massing? You're like, both, fucking neither. What led you to? So my suggestion to you was, because you were in that sort of range, I was like, dude, let's cut the fat off in 12 weeks, get you lean, close to 10%, maybe even a little below, and then slowly get you back up into the 15% range, carrying a lot of muscle with it. Yeah. Were you okay with that input at first, or were you like, really? Am I starting to cut? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, and I like you had said, I was kind of stuck in that middle phase where I was actually holding my body weight for a long period of time. For me, it was more of a weight class situation where I wasn't sure because I could either go up or I could go down. So mentally, I'm sitting there and I'm like, do I pack on the size, or do I cut and get shredded? But then, of course, you're worrying about your numbers and how that's going to affect your
You were like a double whammy because you were in the middle, literally in the middle of two weight classes.
Yeah. But what we had decided, like Mike had said, is to drop the weight first. And obviously I trust his input, which made sense for me, and then build upon a new base. So that's why we were doing it, is to get basically as shredded as possible. And at that point I was fairly confident with my numbers. And even if I did want to compete, I was in the right weight class to compete. And then have enough time to really progressively put on good quality size, which would put me in a good weight class, and also help increase my strength to be super competitive in that weight class. But for me, honestly, just anecdotally, I felt like my body wants to grow and wants to get bigger, and I'm going to perform the best there. But it wouldn't have been as optimal to just start throwing on size. There's always going to be a little bit of fat that I can lose, develop a really strong base that way. It's like that one step back for 3 steps forward.
Cleaning the slate a little bit.
Exactly. So that's what we wanted to do. And the grand scheme of things, 12, 14 weeks, whatever, isn't, going to damage anything. It's only going to make, myself even better as an athlete. So that's kind of the route we took. And it was pretty clear to me on what we wanted to do.
What was the goal that you put in the app? So it's 12 weeks of dieting, and how much total weight loss did you type in there?
Mine was, I think, 16 to 18 pounds.
16 to 18 pounds. So that's not like, for a guy your size, you're in the mid 200s here.
Yeah.
Like around 250, 240. I mean, that's not a very fast rate of loss. And have you seen folks before like take like a bit of a bite more than they can chew with a faster? Because I think everyone turns into fucking Einstein when they start dieting, and they're like, I'm gonna lose 3 pounds a week.
Yeah.
And it never quite goes well. You took very well to the very conservative approach. Do you have any experience where you tried to cut weight too fast before, or did you see other athletes at your gym do that and like you sort of just shied away from it? What's up with that?
Yeah, no, I've done it personally before, and I've also had athletes that have done it. And typically it's, if it's easy go, it comes back just as easy in my opinion. So it's like, you can diet super hard or you go extreme, but I think mentally that doesn't really play out long-term. And then you just have that crazy rebound effect where the weight just comes back on. Then you get even more mentally messed up because you're like, man, I just worked so hard and I was losing weight like crazy. And now all of it's coming back, and then you get flustered, and then you kind of just quit or give up, or you just sort of like, screw it. I'm just gonna eat as much as I can and just see where things go. So kind of just like the training, I'm in it for the long haul, and those baby little losses kind of compound over time. And at the same time, I find that I'm more compliant that way as well, with my nutrition, and the diet's a lot easier to follow because it's not like, okay, we're cutting out 80% of our carbs right away. Yes, of course, if we did that, we lose weight very fast, but it's not going to be sustainable. So with the app, the best part about it is it kind of helps track you along the way, and then it will simply ask you, like, do you want to stay this course? And if I've been compliant and my weight is slowly going down, yes. And then if it notices that things aren't changing, it automatically was making those adjustments where I didn't have to think about it, which is nice compared to the templates, which used to be Excel sheets. You had to sit there and kind of look and do things, where this app just, like you said, it just does it for you, gives you the option, which is really nice. So it's been very gradual for me, where for the most part, I've just been able to slowly make adjustments every 2-3 weeks, drop some calories. But I was used to it at that point, so it didn't really affect me mentally. My performance has been great in the gym. And I'm down, I started at 256 and I'm right around 241, 242. Feeling the best and getting as lean as I can.
And looking,
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Damn, you look good.
All right, Mike, off camera. We'll talk.
So the app has like a barcode food database with like 400,000 foods or whatever. Basically any food in North America, you can scan and it registers, and it automatically puts it into your diet. And you go to almost any restaurant and it automatically registers all that stuff. But I noticed that you tend to eat mostly basic foods that you don't even do the barcode scanning for. And because we have like a basic foods library of our own with like 400 foods. Is there a reason why you mostly stick to basics? And do you think that's something other people should try? Or is it kind of like a choose your own adventure thing?
I think there's two different ways you can look at it. I know there's people that have gotten super shredded, kind of eating whatever they want and staying within those macros. For me, being an elite athlete, my food quality is always going to be a top priority to me. So getting in as much, nutrient
Pixie
dense,
sticks.
yeah, Sour Patch Kids, Pixie Sticks, and tons of bangs. No, so that's kind of for me what I want to stick to, just to feel the best and run as optimally as possible. And I've always been the kind of guy who sticks to basics. Like I don't really care honestly what food tastes like. I'm more concerned with the outcome of what it's going to do for my performance. So there are ways that you can also take the foods I eat and make them taste better. There's tons of seasonings out there. There's tons of different ways to cook your food. I am just a normal ass dude who doesn't really know that much about cooking. So I like to make it as simple as possible and just stick to the basics, which for me just builds easy habits to follow. And that's just been what's really helped me with my training and as well as my nutrition. But there's different ways to skin a cat, but I would say if you are trying to be an elite level athlete, those little things are gonna make the difference where it's like, okay, I can either have, white or brown rice, or I can have a Pop-Tart, you know what I mean? Like you can make that decision on your own, but for me, I'd rather probably go with the rice over the Pop-Tart.
Sure. Keep things simple too. It's like if the app reduces your carbs or increases your carbs, you just add a bit more of the usual stuff you eat. If you're like making this most creative meal combos ever, it can throw everything off, and you're like, oh, I'm having a quarter Pop-Tart now, or something like that.
And that's the thing. The more complex foods you get, or say like, we keep using Pop-Tart. I haven't had a Pop-Tart in years now. I kind of want one. But with a Pop-Tart, there's other macros that are in there versus just rice. It's mainly going to be carbs. So when you start throwing in other things, it's kind of chewing up your maybe total intake for the day. Where for me, I'd rather just have my carbs, my protein, my veggies. I'm very in control of what I'm eating, and mentally it just helps me when I know I can have a lot of rice versus half a Pop-Tart. Like I'm a big dude, so I want to eat more food if I can have the chance to do that.
Sure. For folks thinking about doing the RP Diet app, any tips for success? Because everyone that wants to do it or thinking, should I do it, they want to make sure they don't hit some obvious stumbling blocks. And we try to make the app as good as possible so that those don't exist. But it's a different world, dieting. What do you think with now you've been 6 weeks into it, you're super compliant, you've been doing super great, you've been losing a lot of fat. What are your, like, if you could go back, maybe not just to yourself 6 weeks ago, but to someone starting the diet app, what are your two maybe best points of like, hey, do this and don't do that?
The biggest one I would say is just being consistent and understanding that it's a process. Don't get all messed up if it's not totally linear, because it's not going to be totally linear.
Like weight loss, you mean?
Yeah, with weight loss. And I think when people see like a bump on a scale, they freak out, and they, like we talked about earlier, they just throw their plan out the window. They think the app sucks. They think the diet's not right. And it's just gonna take time, and you have to be consistent. Another thing outside of that is having a good support system, because it is an app, but we're in here training. So if you can, either pair up with some other people, there's Facebook groups, there's other ways to get involved to hold yourself accountable with other people that kind of keeps you going. And the biggest motivator for me is when the results start to come. And I think a lot of people don't give it enough time to reach there, and then they give up. So you have to give it a solid several weeks and really fine tune it and figure it out for you to start seeing and feeling those results. And then once those happen, that's what's kind of going to keep you hooked and addicted to continue on with your journey. Lastly, I would just say be on the more conservative end of things. Don't just dive into something extreme. So, it's very easy to say, I want to lose 30 pounds. We're going to lose 3-4 pounds a week, and you're going to come out hot. Well, that's going to be hard to sustain once you get to week 2, week 3, week 4. But if you say, hey, I'm going to lose, maybe half a pound a week, and all I'm going to do is plug it into the app, make some minor adjustments. I'm going to ride out without making any reductions for a couple weeks and just see what happens. it's going to help you build those habits and those patterns. And then once you get the habits down, you can start to make some more adjustments. So just take it one step at a time, one meal at a time. Don't get overwhelmed with it. Have a good support system. And that's just going to set you up for success. But overall, I mean, the app is phenomenal because it is so simple to use and it just handles everything for you. And, you know, being in the industry and, you know, seeing other products that are out there, other services, this by far has been the most simple resource and app that I've ever come across to get me to my goals. And it's almost silly kind of how simple it is, because it's just doing everything for you that someone else or yourself would have to figure out.
Yeah. Well, you said all the right things. We're going to send you that app money. It's going to make you a billionaire.
Thank God.
Honestly, thank you so much for all that insight. Folks, if you want to check out the RP Diet app, it's on Google Play Store and the iTunes Store. Costs $600,000 a second to use, but you're out there making that money. Folks, thank you so much from Joey and I. Again, we have beef. We don't like each other. Maybe we should shake hands on camera.
Not at all.
Just to... Okay. See you guys next time.